Now along the top edge on the black portion of it, there are 2 screws. Now there are 2 screws on this. This is actually a tan colored, almost light gray interior. Those are actually going to be for the bezel that the piece of trim we're going to take off later. But around the black portion, that's part of the frame of the cup holder. We've got 2 Phillips screws we're going to take off. Get those out of the way. Now inside, there's a little flap right here you can pull down. Inside you've got a total of 2 Phillips screws, one here and one here you got to get out. Once you get those out, this whole assembly will come out. Hold on to it with one hand. Go ahead and set it and put it to the side. Now this time, this one we're going to work around the whole perimeter of this trim piece to get it off. I'll point out a couple screws here. You've got one here, here, and here. And you've got a total of 3 of them that were behind this cup holder assembly, these 3. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to work all the way around the perimeter. And like I said, it goes from the driver's side steering column opening all the way up to the door jamb. So just follow, take all the screws out all the way around the perimeter. There's a lot of them. Once I get it off, I'll go a little more specific on where each one is. But as you follow the sides, you'll see it there is numerous. You'll just go all the way around, work your way around. All of them are on the face. And we got 3 of them on the driver's side steering column open. I'll show you those specifically before I get them off. So now we're back on the driver's side. I want to show you the 2 Phillips screws. Like I said, this was the knee bolt. So this is the piece that actually goes up under your steering column. I've still got the 2 screws in on the bottom. It kind of hinges for right now. I've got a screw here. I've got a screw down there. That's the 2 on the face here. Let me put that up momentarily. The piece of plastic we took out that went under the cup holder assembly. There's a screw right here on the side. It actually goes in this way. Everything else goes through the face except for this one, so make sure you get that one out of the way. Now, if you're kind of worried about breaking anything off because of this being hinged like it is, and feel free to take the 2 Phillips screws off on the bottom. Doesn't take that much longer. It's just I do enough of these and I know I can get away with it. And just take those off and then you can actually take it completely off. Alright, so now we've got all the screws out the perimeter of this piece. Now, we do got one connector that goes to the glove box light that we do need to get to. There's not a lot of slack on the back side. Sometimes you can get enough to pull it loose, or if you need to, you can reach around from the back side here. I can actually feel the connector and I can pull out on the wiring. There we go. So I can do it from the back side from the piece we took off. And then we got one for the power outlet over here by the cigarette ashtray assembly. Now, same thing as always, be careful. Whatever's in there is going to want to spill out. I just go ahead and shut it. So I can go ahead and grab it, start working loose. And then, like I said, I've got one connector on the back side. You can see the wires here. I want to squeeze on the connector. There we go. Got it. I can sit it off to the side. All this so I can get to the 4 bolts underneath holding this airbag on. And not just that, but the screws that go along the bottom edge. A couple of them are Torx. Actually, 4 of them are Torx, and you got 1 Phillips. There's 1 Phillips I want you to take loose because this AC vent attaches that way. It snaps onto the cover, but it actually has a finger that comes down and screws onto the metal frame up on there. So make sure you do get this Phillips screw out, and then we'll work on getting the Torx off here. And then, like I said, you've got 2 Phillips around the perimeter on the left side of that airbag assembly. Alright, so we're going to use a T20 Torx driver. I'm going to go ahead and back out the 4 fasteners to hold the cover to the frame. Once I get these out, technically the cover is going to be unfastened, but we still got to get to the 4 10 millimeters under here to get to the airbag unbolted from the frame itself, because it is hard mounted to the frame of the dash. So we'll have to work on that. And there's also a connector up under there. As you see, as I start pulling, she's coming loose, but we still got 4 bolts up under. Alright, so currently we're under the dash. I'm reaching up through the glove box opening. Now, the bolts we're going to be worried about taking them out for the airbag assembly is a 10 here, 10 there, and right above it we've got another 10, and there's a 10 right behind that cord right there. The connector for the airbag is this yellow connector right here. It's a 2-stage connector. You got to squeeze in on the primary lock, the red piece, and then squeeze in and pull it out. So there, we've got it unplugged. Like I said, we need to go ahead and take these tins off. Once we get all 4 of the tins out, we'll start pulling it off. Alright, so at this point we're going to work on getting the bag assembly out. We just start grabbing corners because it does snap in around the perimeter. Once we get it, we can lift up and get it out of the hole. And there you go, you got your airbag assembly with the igniter and hooks to there. Here's that AC vent I was telling you that. It is separate, but it snaps on and it has one finger that has a screw that goes to it. So we'll go ahead and put it on the bench, start getting this cover off. Alright, so the airbag's held on to the cover by these metal hooks all the way around the perimeter. This cover actually kind of hooks on and snaps on, I guess you could say. And it's got little metal ridges up here that stop the cover from just lifting straight up. So you got to kind of pry it away from that ledge and then kind of get it up. So what you got to do is just find your corner to get started. You start prying the cover off. There we go. Alright, we got one side done. And what we can do is now we got to get to the other side. We need to do the same thing, pry the perimeter up. These hooks on this side actually go a little bit deeper. So just take your time, work it all the way around the edge. You finally got them all off. Alright, so we got that off. Now it's just a matter of lifting straight up. There we go. Airbag assembly's off the cover. Here's your airbag portion, and here's your igniter portion. This one's actually a recall, and the recall is a P78. P78, we are actually replacing the igniter module inside. We have to take the airbag loose from the frame itself by unbolting these 610 millimeters, taking the connector off and sliding it through, and then taking the igniter off the back of it. So that's your airbag assembly right there. And installation is just opposite of removal. And one key note, like I mentioned before in the introduction, make sure the battery's disconnected before you do it. Otherwise, pretty cut and dry. Just take your time, use your plastic trim sticks. So there you go. The most important step I'm going to recommend over and over and over again, don't forget to disconnect the battery. The capacitors inside the airbag controllers store voltage for a period of time. So if you do something crazy, something stupid, there's a possibility airbags could be deployed. You don't want your coworkers laughing at you, and you don't want your boss coming out going, what in the world did you just do? And plus, you don't want to be seeing stars and waking up in a hospital. Nonetheless, a lot of things can happen. So disconnect that battery, wait a good 15 minutes, maybe get you something to drink, whatever, check your emails, see what's going on Craigslist, whatever, then get back to the job. So there you go, it's pretty cut and dry as long as you follow the steps. Now, there are some shortcuts, but I just went ahead and showed you from the beginning to the end how you're supposed to do it properly. You can figure out the rest if you want, but nonetheless, that's the proper way to do it without doing much damage to the car. So at this point, I ask for any kind of thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And if you need to, scroll to the bottom of the video. In the description, there will be a link to both of those. In the meantime, thanks for watching.